Hi, you lovely people. This is Saf from Cool Saf TV. Thank you very much for tuning into my channel. Today, I'm actually going to share with you my thoughts and my review for the last 8 to 9 months since I've been using the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Well, to start with, you would have seen literally numerous videos out there in YouTube explaining to you about the unboxing, the reviews and afterthoughts, the hype and all those things about iPhone 14 Pro Max, and also which includes the camera samples as well from big massive YouTubers and everyone. So this video is all about my take, my experience, what I have experienced using this phone, iPhone 14 Pro Max, as a daily driver past 8 to 9 months. So without further ado, let's jump in. Okay, to start with, what do we actually get with the iPhones, whether it's an iPhone 14 Pro Max, iPhone 14, 14 Pro, or even any iPhone these days? You literally, in the box, you get nothing else apart from the wires, which is the lightning cable to the USB Type-C, along with the basic leaflets, which, to be honest, nobody reads these days. And that's pretty much it in iPhone box. Nothing else apart from obviously the phone. But when you compare the other Chinese manufacturers, like whether it's a Xiaomi phones or even Huawei phones or Oppo's or Vivo's these days, they provide the plugs, which are like 30 watts, 50 watts, even some cases they are like fast chargers like 120 watts, which gives you lightning speed charging, which is brilliant. But as far as the iPhone is concerned, as we all know, they don't give you any plugs. The same thing goes for Samsung and Google as well these days. But to be honest with you, as a consumer, how much does it cost? It just costs peanuts to them. Why can't they just make it available to everybody? It just makes it much more easier. Well, that's one of the gripes which I have to start with. So this is basically what they have as far as the box is concerned. And next one is talking about the actual phone. Well, with all honesty, iPhones are known to have brilliant build quality, which is true in the case of iPhone 14 Pro Max. It has got a flat screen, which a lot of people like it. There are some people who like curved screens. Well, there are some people who like flat screens, which I don't have any issues using a flat screen or a curved screen. But yeah, for aesthetic purposes, sometimes the flat screen is always better. It's easy to type in. The typing experience is quite good when you have a flat screen, which is quite good. And the feel in hand, it's actually a very heavy phone, but sometimes you feel like the heaviness is actually like the build quality is absolutely wonderful. You can't fault the design of it. It's actually like quite good. And also the bezels are not that slim when compared to the Samsungs or any other phones. Some of the phones, they've got like very thin bezels. But again, this being a flat screen, but the biggest advantage is even though it's got a slightly thicker bezels, they have got uniform bezels, like the top, side, and bottom, all of them have got uniform bezels, which makes it much more aesthetically pleasing to view. And as far as hold on a minute, let me get the password right. There you go. So going by the build quality is absolutely wonderful build quality. There's absolutely no doubt whatsoever in the build quality. It's amazing the build quality is. And talking about the UI, this is where Apple absolutely shines like anything, because a lot of people, they compare like, oh, Apple is good, oh, Androids are good. So there's always a battle between who is superior, whether it's Android is superior or Apple is superior. So people who swear by Android, they say that, oh, Android is the best. Well, no doubt Androids have become better and better as the years have progressed. But iPhone, one thing which always attracts me towards iPhone is it's always uniform, and it's also got a very good ecosystem. Like say, for example, if you have a MacBook Pro or you got an iPad, you got other devices which are Apple. So the ecosystem is quite robust, so they all talk to each other very, very good. So that is a big advantage of going into the Apple ecosystem, but doesn't mean that Android is bad or anything like that. Android also has got a very good system, no doubt about that. And as far as the processor is concerned, this Apple has got a very fast A16 Bionic chip, which has actually surpassed so many Geekbench scores and everything. It's actually doing very, very good. But in all honesty, as a common consumer, as a normal consumer, I don't care about the Geekbenches, because at the end of the day, as a day-to-day operations, I just want my phone to work smoothly without any jitters, not having any lags, or having very good battery life. These are the attributes which me as a consumer wants to look into, not the Geekbench score, because these days, all flagships, whether it is Apple or Samsung or Google or any other manufacturer, for that means it could be Oppo or Vivo or any other manufacturer, they are all the flagships are all very, very fast. So it's not a matter of who's faster or who's slower, because all of these are pretty fast. So the Geekbench score, to be honest with you, doesn't make a big difference to me. But as far as my experience is concerned, in the last 8-9 months of me using it, I have actually felt like the phone is really, really quick without any problem at all. Never had any issues at all. But yes, people used to say that, oh, Apple never jitters or never crashes. Well, in all honesty, that's not the case, because I have had few instances where the Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max has crashed in a few applications. Don't know why, but they have crashed on me when I was using it. They just become unresponsive. And my wife also has got an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and she also has encountered the crashes. So it doesn't mean it's not for my case. It happened to my wife as well. So these things do happen now and there. It's not just that, oh, only Android has the crashes. No, Apple also do have the crashes, which is pretty much all companies, whether it's iOS or Android. So talking about the fluidity, yes, the Apple fluidity with the A16 Bionic chip and the motion, the 120 hertz refresh ratio, they make the phone really, really quick. Absolutely, no doubt about that. Whenever you actually click on any kind of thing, they are very, very smooth. You can actually see they're quite fast in response. There's no lags or like jitters and everything, which sometime back Apple iPhone were the last to actually introduce the ProMotion, which is like they used to have 60 hertz when all the other Android manufacturers, they were already jumping guns into 120 hertz. Apple were slow in the game, but yes, they have come into the game, and 120 hertz now, they're doing pretty good, which is very good about Apple. And also, people who have used iPhones before, they will feel it's very familiar territory. The moment they start using the iPhone, they just feel they are home, because they know exactly what to do and everything. But again, people who are new to iPhones, like say, for example, if you actually giving an iPhone to a new person, it might not take them a long time to learn it. The learning curve is actually pretty small. It's not very, very tedious to learn it. It's very, very easy to go through that one. So I would say the user experience in this one has been absolutely brilliant. So next, coming to the cameras, yes, a lot of people will be saying that, oh, the cameras are good and things like that. So what I'll do is I'll come back to the camera, because I've taken some sample shots. I'll show you in the video later. So before going to that one, the biggest feature everybody was talking about in iPhone 14 Pro Max when compared to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, there wasn't a huge kind of design feature changes, because they pretty much have exactly the same kind of changes. The only changes which they did when compared to the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the 14 Pro Max, as far as design was concerned, was the button layout, they just slightly lifted a little bit up when compared to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, where the buttons were slightly a bit lower. So if you have any cases from iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now it will fit, but it won't fit the buttons over here. It's just a bit overlays. But apart from that, the cameras are slightly bigger because they are 48 milli 48 millimeters per thing. So that is about the camera, because the cameras are really, really good. And one thing I wanted to say is about the main attraction in the iPhone 14 Pro Max is the dynamic island, which some people might call it as a gimmick, and some people might say it's very, very useful. From my experience, I would say it has been good, and it has been a gimmick in certain instances. By what I mean by that is, like, I've used Android phones before, and I've been using iPhones as well. So one of the biggest difference in a daily day-to-day use, which I have seen, is, say for example, if you're watching an Android video and you want to minimize that one, but still you want to listen to the YouTube in the background. So what happens in Android is you'll still be able to listen to that, but you'll see a small kind of a pop-up over here in the Android. But if you want to cancel the pop-up, that's it, your YouTube video exits. But again, the advantage in iPhone, the dynamic island, is when you minimize the YouTube video is actually running in your background, but you can actually see it over here, which makes a huge difference. At the same time, you can be listening to any podcast in YouTube and things like that, and the whole home screen will be absolutely available to you. That's one biggest advantage which I have seen with Dynamic Island. Well, people say, yeah, you can listen to music and that will be playing over there, and you can actually see a small kind of like an album art over there, which is quite handy, aesthetically pleasing, and also it's not disturbing your other activities, whether you are using any things like whether you're messaging somebody or whether you're browsing your net, you still have got that in there. So which is quite handy, I would say. And also Apple this time has gone for the ceramic shield. They say it's quite durable, but I have dared not to drop it, so I can't answer that one, because obviously it's a very expensive phone. In UK, it starts from $11.99. It goes all the way to $17.99. So there is no way, I mean, literally no way I'm going to be dropping an expensive phone. But yes, there are certain people in YouTube who have actually have done a lot of drop tests to prove how durable they are. So yeah, but for me, I'm not going to drop it to check it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about the UI, the bodies and everything. And let's next thing is, let's talk about the camera. So that was some of the sample pictures which I've taken in the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So from the pictures, yeah, the cameras in the iPhone 14 Pro Max are absolutely brilliant, no doubt about that. And yeah, they have got a very good ultra wide and 48 megapixel camera, which is pretty good. That's a main camera, and they've got the 12 megapixel, which they do pixel binning, which is pretty good, and lot of things. And as far as the dynamic range is concerned, the colors in the pictures you've seen capture very, very good dynamic range. And also they have got a zoom capacity of 3x zoom, and in portrait they've got 2x zoom, which takes one of the, from my experience, I've seen is like the portrait pictures are absolutely brilliant. And as far as the videos are concerned, yeah, they're brilliant as well. And that is something which is really, really good as far as the iPhones are concerned, because they have actually maintained a proper standard. They have been consistently in all the pictures. There's nothing like, oh, in these pictures they have got done very good, and certain ones they have boosted the colors and muted the colors. The dynamic range, the white balance are pretty good. The ISO rates are pretty good in the cameras as well. And as far as the videos are concerned, by far the videos are brilliant when compared to, I've taken some samples shots from other Android phones as well, but I have a feeling that the iPhone videos are actually brilliant in taking the videos when compared to other Android phones. So that is something which I wanted to share with you as far as my camera experience has been. This is my experience that has been the last 8 to 9 months. So from this one, what are my takes on this one? What would I say is a pros and cons? So some of the pros are, yeah, they have got a brilliant UI and the ecosystem is brilliant. The cameras are very, very good. And especially the video camera, it's amazing. It's very, very good video camera. And also the pro is the build quality, even though it's heavy, but it's the build quality is so good and you can't fault any thing in the design perspective, because they have used the same design past 3 years and they perfected the design, even though now it's showing its age as far as the design is concerned, but still the design is robust. You can't find any fault in the design. So these are some of the pros, and obviously if there is pros, there has to be cons as well. The biggest con in this one is, yes, the price is expensive. Not everybody can afford it. It's like, it starts from $11.99, goes all the way to $17.99. That's pretty expensive for a phone these days. But again, these are the prices which are pretty much in all the phones these days. And the biggest con is, yes, they have been using the same design past 3 years, as I mentioned earlier. It's just starting to get a bit dated. I think they should go for a new design just to capture the audience, just to make sure that the money is much more worth. And also, I personally take a lot of pictures, because I have kids who love to take pictures. Means I love to take pictures of my kids. And the best part is when you're going out with your family, or when just about even when you're watching a football match or in your stadium or something like that, you want to zoom in. The only issue in this one, which I feel, is that there has been certain instances where I have gone on an outing and I wanted to take some zoomed out pictures. This one caps at 3x zoom, which is optical zoom. But yeah, this can go up to 30x digital zoom. But trust me, you don't want to be taking the 30x zoom, which is, they're quite pixelated kind of thing. As far as, on the other hand, if you see Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, they have got a 10x zoom, which is, even though it's a bit softer, but it does a very, very good job. So that is some of the cons which I have seen. But apart from that, they are brilliant. Means iPhones last 2-3 years, they have been the king of battery life. There is no way that any other company is beating them. Even Samsung S23 Ultra, or whether there's a new Xiaomi 13 Ultra, they have been very good in the battery life. But again, as far as the battery life king is concerned, yeah, the iPhone is the battery life king, and the UI is brilliant. So these are the things which I say is the pros and cons. Overall, do I regret buying this? Absolutely no. And would I suggest you to buy it even after it's like 8 to 9 months? Yeah, definitely go for it, because the best part of iPhone is it doesn't loses its value as much as the other phones do. So even if you can get the iPhone on the second market, whether it's eBay or Amazon or anywhere else, if you want to get for a cheaper price, definitely I would say go for it. It is definitely worth it. So that's my view on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So till next time, be safe and talk to you soon. Take care.